Going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another review stream as Spurs drew 2-2 with Everton at Goodison Park yesterday in a really frustrating game of football. We're here to do our match review, player ratings, 5 takeaways, and then we'll go and see how the internet did react to the game. But let's start off with the match review from yesterday. In terms of the starting lineup, I mean, I think it was what we kind of expected yesterday. Maybe a couple of changes in there. Bentancur starting in the 8 with Højbjerg in the 6. Man, Richarlison just going from strength to strength this season, isn't he? But in terms of the way the game started, I thought we, again, first 10 minutes, came out the traps really well, got that early goal, really great work with Destiny Udogie and Timo Werner on the left-hand side, played it into Richarlison, and he absolutely fired it into the top corner. Didn't celebrate as we expected. But it's carrying on a theme, isn't it, with Spurs? Coming out the traps really well the first 10 minutes and then letting it slip a little bit.
Yeah, I felt like in those first 10 minutes, we did start quickly. And I was saying on the stream, we're on top in these first 10 minutes, but we need to smell blood a bit. We need to kind of go for the throw while we're on top. And we let the game drift. We allowed Everton to, slowly get back in the game, start to take control. And unfortunately for us, they started to bully us a bit, especially midfield. They started to really dominate in those duels. And that was the real factor of how Everton were able to gain control of that game, because they were so aggressive. They just started to win all the duels and all the second balls as well. And the big killer was the set pieces. They started to get lots of set pieces, to swing loads of crosses in the box. And not only that, but when we were dealing with the crosses in the box, they were winning those second balls. So it allowed them to sustain the pressure. It felt like for a long time in that first half, we had no outball. And obviously, it's no secret, in that first half, they targeted Vicario from those set pieces. And it was something that really worked a treat. Obviously, they got the goal from it as well, first of all. But before that as well, they were really causing trouble from those set pieces constantly. And whether Vicario got something on it or not, it was causing him lots of problems, and it's something that teams now, after what Man City did, seem to a tactic that teams are really adopting now.
Yeah.
Which is worrying.
Yeah, it's 100% spot on. And I noticed 3 glaring things in the game in the first half yesterday. First of all, what you mentioned, the inability for Spurs to win those second balls yesterday. Second of all, again, what you picked out was them clearly targeting Vicario from those set pieces. We kept giving away needless corners time and time again as well. And every time they got a corner in that first half, it seemed like it was like a penalty or something. I swear, everyone was very close. They got their first goal. I actually did think it was a foul. He was backing into Vicario, but I guess Vicario does have to be stronger. It's I thought it was more of a foul than the Man City one, for sure. But again, like, Vicario just needs to be stronger. Second one, he did keep out with his feet, didn't he? Which was quite a good save from Vicario. But every time they were crowding the box, crowding the keeper, and aiming right for Vicario from their corners. And it did seem like they could have scored from pretty much every set piece that they had yesterday. And another thing that I noticed yesterday was just our inability to keep the ball in midfield. Højbjerg, Bentancur, time and time again, just kept giving the ball away in the middle of the park. And I don't think that was due to the way that how aggressive Everton were in the midfield. I just thought it was just poor passing ability from our midfield yesterday.
I did think it was due to how Everton were playing, because I thought they were very intense. It wasn't just Højbjerg and Bentancur. I thought the back line as well really struggled in their build-up. It seemed as though with Udogie, unless he was kind of like bullying his way through with his physicality, he struggled in the build-up as well. I know he had some good moments yesterday, but as well, in general play, when he was asked to kind of pass his way out of trouble, I thought he struggled yesterday. I thought Porro wasn't able to find those passes that he usually does in general. I thought as well, it was more a problem with the front three than midfield three, because I thought as soon as they got to that front three, even Richarlison was a bit guilty of this, but him less so than the other two, Werner and Johnson. They could not make it stick for love nor money. Johnson was constantly looking for these little flicks around the corner, and they weren't coming off. He was constantly making bad decisions on the right-hand side. There was no kind of thinking about just keeping the ball simple. Just even if you're playing, it kind of felt like whenever we got the ball to the front three, they wanted to kind of do something special to kind of progress the ball up into the final third. But sometimes you just got to play it simple, keep possession, and then pick your moments to go forward. I understand it's a very transitional game yesterday against an Everton team who like to play in transition, and once you let them get into a settled back line, organised, it becomes very, very difficult to break them down. So I understand the need to kind of quicken things up and maybe force things a bit. But the only one I saw with a bit of like composure and someone who was willing to kind of bide his time, keep possession, and also pick his moments to kind of go for it was Maddison. I thought he was the one really doing well in that midfield, but he was kind of surrounded by a lot of players rushing things, forcing things, and they weren't coming off. And Everton kind of saw it coming. They were so aggressive. They were getting stuck into those duels, and they're winning it back every single time. Yeah. And that's something I thought Brentford did very well in the first half against us as well. So clearly it's something very, very important that Postecoglou has to work on, because when these aggressive teams, strong teams, Brentford and Everton are kind of similar in the way they play, and they both played us to a T, especially in that first half yesterday, and we really struggled. We're
struggling against teams that are coming to press us high up the pitch or even in the midfield, and Højbjerg and Bentancur at the moment don't have the answers. There seems to be something off with Bentancur at the moment. I'm not sure what it is, because he seems to be, usually when he's on top of his game, he's really press resistant. He can work around these midfield. He's doing the simple things right. And I just feel like he didn't have any of those elements to his game yesterday, which was really frustrating. Really frustrating. In terms of Brennan Johnson, though, like, I've been backing him all the time since he's joined us. I'm still backing him. I think he will come good eventually. But yesterday, he pissed me off so much. I swear, every time he got the ball, he either checked back or he lost it. And there were times yesterday where he had it on the right-hand side, really wide on the pitch, and he had it one-on-one with his fullback. And I'm shouting from the sideline, go and attack your fullback, go and attack him. And he just didn't want to do it by no means necessary. And it was so frustrating, wasn't it?
Yeah, and there was a severe lack of quality I felt from Brendan yesterday as well. There was only one moment I can remember where he did well, where he actually got to the byline. It was actually in the second half. He got beyond Mykolenko one of the only times. He actually got a good ball across the face of goal, but Werner kind of waited for the ball to come to him rather than going to attack it, and it led to a tackle getting put in. So we could have been talking with an assist for Johnson at the end of the day, but I agree, he was really, really poor, didn't get involved in the game. The most annoying thing for me is if you're going to have an off day going forward, you at least can't be a liability in terms of on the pitch. Like, you can't be giving the ball away constantly. You have to be part of the team. And it just felt like he didn't know how to make the ball stick. He didn't know how to bring other players into play. He was constantly looking to try things, and they weren't coming off. And unfortunately, rightly so, did he come off? No, Werner went off. He went off with Kulusevski late on, but yeah, he had a really, really poor display again, and it seems to be a constant theme. And it seems to be like away from home, he just, I don't know. So, like at home, he seems to be a bit better, but away from home, he seems to just get lost in the game.
Plays within himself, doesn't he? And when you're coming up against the most aggressive team in the league, pretty much in Everton, you got to be on your game, and you got to show a bit of confidence and try things. And he wasn't doing that, and he has the pace, right, to knock it past his fullback and just try go on the outside and really burn him, but he didn't even attempt it. And that's the worst thing about it. Like, if you try and attempt it and it doesn't work and it doesn't come off, then fair enough. But if you don't attempt it, it's just not good enough.
Agreed. We did somehow go into halftime 2-1 up, though.
Yeah,
with an unbelievable
completely
goal.
Against the run of play, that goal. Completely against the run of play. I was saying to Amir, who I was at the game with yesterday, and I was saying to him just before we scored, I was like, we're really under pressure here. We're going to be lucky to go in at halftime 1-1. And then we scored like a few seconds later. And I was like, what a goal. What a goal. Lovely little flick back from James Maddison, wasn't it? And Richarlison just batters it into the top right-hand corner. This is a man full of confidence now, on fire. I think that's 10 goals so far this season, 9 in his last 8 or 9 in his last 9. And not only is he just getting these kind of, I wouldn't say easy chances, but chances you expect him to score. But both goals were really high quality yesterday.
Really high quality. And I was saying in our group chat on just on Friday, like, Rishi's doing great. I love him, and I think he's up his performance so well. But I still haven't seen a goal from him yet. Like, to say, oh, what a goal! Like, great finish from him. A lot of these finishes have been a bit maybe scuffed or poachers finishes and stuff like that. But yesterday, that second goal, curled it in with the instep outside the box, 25 yards into the top corner as well. Unbelievable finish, an unbelievable goal. And I thought he was due a banger, and he was close on Wednesday against Brentford to getting one, and absolutely buried this one. Apologise to the Everton fans after as well. But this, yeah, I 100% agree. We're finally seeing Rishi at his best at the moment, full of confidence. And now we're seeing quality from him as well. A lot of people saying, this guy couldn't finish, this guy doesn't have good shooting technique, all this kind of stuff. And he's silencing all those critics. And that first goal as well, on the volley, not to be sniffed at how difficult a chance that was to get that into the roof of the net. That was an exceptional finish as well. And now his finishing is really taking it up a notch as well, isn't it? So really, really great to see. And I thought it was tireless running from him in general yesterday. But just talking about that goal, just to take that, it shows how much confidence he has. He just took it first time with his instep, like didn't have a second thought, but to get the shot off, and it was an astounding finish. And if he's going to have more finishes like that, he's going to go from just a player in good form to one of the better strikers in the league.
Yeah, it was a weird dynamic yesterday, the game, because I felt like in the first half we went 2-1 up, and we were much worse in the first half than I thought that we were in the second half. And in the second half, we just couldn't find a goal. And Everton go and score that goal in the last minute. But I did feel like at half time, Ange must have got into them, because we did come out better in that second half.
Yeah.
I think maybe marginally better, but definitely better. We were able to keep the ball a bit more, play our football a bit more, create a few chances. Maddison has that shot from the edge of the box. Porro had a really good effort as well. Werner, though, I mean, as much as Werner's good with his running, and yes, he was involved in both goals, he just needs to be a bit more incisive, a bit more clinical, and a bit more confident in his finishing, because his lack of end of product is starting to annoy me. Well, in this game, annoyed me a bit. Yeah,
he was frustrating a few times. There was also, again, just like there has been a few times this season for Werner in his first few appearances for Spurs, so a few times he's in on the left-hand side and we just don't find him, which is quite frustrating. So he could have had more chances than he did, but there were definitely a couple of occasions he could have done better. There was that one-on-one he had, which he missed, but obviously he was offside for that anyway. And there was a chance I spoke about earlier. Johnson plays a really good ball across the face of goal, and it was really frustrating because if Werner just goes towards the ball and attacks that pass, he gets there before, I think it was Godfrey, and he could have got a really clear shot of goal inside the box. Unfortunately, he kind of waited for the ball to come to him. He wanted it to be perfect, and the longer he waited, obviously Godfrey was able to get in and clear the ball, and that was a really good chance to make it 3-1. Yeah, he did have a few opportunities to kind of run down the left, but unfortunately he did waste a lot of them, and that's just unfortunately how it might be for Werner. In terms of overall how we did in the second half, yeah, I thought it was much, much better because we definitely created more good opportunities, and the really good thing, positive thing I thought coming out of the second half was we seemed to sort, apart from obviously we did concede a set piece late in the game, so maybe it's ironic for me to say this, but I did think we definitely improved from set pieces in that second half because they were McNeil was putting in those corners, and Vicario, instead of like being weak and being held down, he was coming and claiming the corners.
He caught a number of them.
He did it. I think 2 or 3 of them he came and claimed. So clearly, I don't know what was said at half time, but they definitely improved on something. That was a massive plus. I felt like Everton were just getting a lot less encouragement from Tottenham in that second half as well. Our build-up was much better. We were able to get beyond Everton. I felt like Everton maybe tired a bit, their pressing was a bit less intense, and maybe that allowed Tottenham to take control of the game. And I definitely felt like we had control of that game in the second half. If anyone looked like it was going to get the third goal or the next goal in the game, it was going to be Tottenham. So Rishi as well had a really good chance. Kulu played him in behind, and Pickford made a good save. So Pickford was definitely the busier keeper in that second half. But unfortunately, all the good work was undone in the last 10 minutes. Obviously, there was a long stoppage time, 7 minutes? And even just before that stoppage time, we were already giving up control. It seemed as though we just panicked in those last 10 minutes of the game. We were just doing such stupid things, giving away stupid free kicks. Just all of a sudden, apart from doing nice build-up, we were just lumping it forward like anywhere will do. And
would be so frustrated with that as well.
And a few occasions, we had opportunities to either keep possession or run it into the corner or do something, and we were just giving it away willy-nilly. And Richarlison, I remember there was one moment, near the end of the game, and he's got the ball in centre mid. He just runs into two players, like, in a dangerous position. It's like, what are you doing? It's like near the end of the game, you're just needlessly giving the ball away. And that was really, really frustrating. I think, again, it smacks of the immaturity maybe Ange was talking about in the Brentford game. That's something we need to learn. Game management, end of game. Yeah, maybe you want to get that third goal, but sometimes you have to see it out. And it seemed like we just panicked in those last 10 minutes.
Absolutely. It was really frustrating because, like you said, we were the ones in the ascendancy for the majority of that second half. We should have gone on and got that third goal. And if we do get that third goal, that's game over. And we take home 3 points in a really gritty display. But again, how many times this season now have we conceded last-minute goals? It's so frustrating. It's happening time and time again. And in a game like that where you've got such big moments. You've got Liverpool playing Arsenal right now as we speak, about to kick off. And it's so important to go take 3 points to stay up in touch with the top places in the Premier League. And we drop more points away from home, more away woes for Tottenham. And our away form is really starting to worry me. It really is.
1 win in 6, I think, away from home, isn't it? So, look, away from home in the Premier League is always going to be tough. You got, there's a lot of tough games, but it's just a worry. Apart from like the Man United game, we have struggled to control these games. And even the Man United game, obviously we conceded 2 goals. And again, even in that game, we could have conceded right at the end with, I think it was McTominay had a header. Go back to the Burnley game and the FA Cup, could have conceded right at the end there. We were lucky not to. The Brentford game could have conceded right at the end. We're lucky not to. So even in games where we have seen it out or have not conceded, there have been chances for the opposition. And whether there are chances for them or they actually go on and score, there seems to be a big problem of us late in games defending our leads or defending the result. And that's really, really frustrating. It's something for Ange to think about because obviously we're loving the football. And this is, maybe it's just a consequence of how he wants to play. But we can't keep going on with all these chances conceding late on. It can't continue in this way. This can't be something Ange can tolerate because we're not managing these games late on at all well. And that's something really frustrating at the moment. It's costing us.
And that last goal is the goal that we conceded late on. It was so needless as well. So needless. Kulusevski puts in a stupid foul to give away that free kick, like for nothing, pretty much, in no area where...
The last thing you do in that situation is give away a set piece.
There's just no need for it.
They haven't created anything from open play in the whole game.
I know, and the only way that they did create was from set pieces throughout the whole game, and we give them a needless one right at the end. And as much as I said in the first half, what I said to Amir, I said to him again just before that free kick get given away. I said to him, Everton are going to score here, and like literally 50 seconds later, they get that free kick and they score. So it's probably my fault that they did score, but. When the set piece does come in, it looked like we could deal with it quite easily. Romero wins it, and then I don't know, it just like skims off his head and lands to Branthwaite in the back post. And should Vicario be doing better there? It's a point blank range. I'm not going to really put too much down on him. It's all got to be down on Romero.
Yeah, I mean, Romero makes a bad header. He just had to head it away, and he just got it all wrong, unfortunately. Maybe it was too high for him. But the most frustrating thing for me is if you watch it back, there's like two or three Everton players at the back post ready to put it in, like no marking. Yeah. And just before that, I think it was Chamiti had a free shot right in the from a cross right in the centre of the goal. And lucky for us, he kind of doesn't get enough on it. So they were definitely threatening. And again, so frustrating that we're in the second half. We had control of that game, and we just panicked and gave up control, started doing stupid things, and that ended up costing us the result at the end of the day. And I think on the balance of the whole game, Everton definitely deserved something from the game, so it would have been very harsh if they would have lost it. But it's just frustrating. Like it wasn't like in the first half where they were on top of us and we ceded to that pressure. It was we had control and we just completely panicked and gave up that control, our stupidity. And Ange must have been out watching things unfold and think, how were we allowing this to happen? And I want to say I don't think his substitutions helped that much as well.
I agree.
So that was a bit frustration as well.
Yeah, I agree. I don't see the need for Brian Hill to come on first and foremost, especially against such a physical side. Brian Hill's never going to get anything in that game, and
you have him. Yeah, gone.
And that's what it came to be.
Yeah, it's just annoying when exactly, because you bring Brian Hill on and all of a sudden you're giving away set pieces. He's going to have to mark someone in the box now. And you look at Everton's side, every single player, they're big, they're strong. So even if obviously you've got the centre-backs marking, the big players, but still Brian Hill's going to have to take up someone, and he's never going to win any duel in the air or anything. So that was like really frustrating as well. And obviously he didn't really do anything going forward as well.
Yeah, and Kulusevski, when he came on, I did think, like, well, who else could he bring on but Kulusevski? You know what I mean? At that moment in the game. But he did create a chance when he first came on, Kulu. But apart from that, he offered little, next to nothing, and then just gave away a stupid free kick. There are players at the moment, like Kulusevski, Brennan Johnson, Bentancur, who are just not playing to their full ability at the moment. And they're just in a, they're just in a moment of really bad form. And they need to turn it around pretty quickly.
Yeah, something for Ange to focus on. Hopefully, these players are not playing very well over the last few weeks. I'm not sure why. If I can put my finger on why exactly they're off their game, but it is the reality. We have to say what we can see. I think in terms of positives, obviously we spoke about Maddison. I thought he was better in this game than he was against Brentford. Looked less rusty, looked a bit sharper. Obviously had a couple of good efforts as well. A couple of little trickery in the centre of the park, which was good.
He was our best man in the midfield by far.
By far. And we lost a lot when he went off. It seemed we lost any sort of possession in the midfield. And probably man of the match, or one of our best players, was Van der Ven.
Most definitely man of the match. He was class. He just oozes class. No matter who we play against, he's our best player. It seems as a week in, week out at the moment. You're looking at Richarlison, like them two were clearly by far our best players yesterday, and I think that Richarlison's going to get the plaudits because he scored 2 goals and 2 brilliant goals at that, but I actually think Mickey Van der Ven was by far our best player on the pitch yesterday. He is just such a good defender. His recovery pace gets us out of trouble time and time again. All his challenges, his sliding challenges, is just spot on every time. It's just so hard to get the ball around him, and he's such a top-class defender.
Yeah, he's amazing. He just gets us out of trouble so often as well. Just with his ability, his recovery ability is second to none. Romero said in an interview on Friday he thinks Van der Ven is one of the best centre-backs in the league. I think we can all agree. When he's on the pitch, even though we have conceded goals recently, it's nothing to do down to him in terms of how he defends. He's just been impeccable, and he's incredible. I absolutely love watching him play as well, and I thought it was down to him maybe that it wasn't a worse result yesterday.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate that he's on kind of sides, against Man City, how well he played that game, didn't deserve to be on the losing side, and didn't deserve to be part of a defence that, poor defending from Romero, just giving away sloppy free kicks from Kulusevski. He didn't deserve that, Van der Ven, yesterday, and you saw how frustrated he was after the game.
Yeah, definitely. And he said we should have killed it, which is right. I think if we make it 3-1 in that second half, we win that game. So massive frustration. We let it go all the way down to 2-1, all the way down to the end of the game, and we panicked at the end, and it cost us. And that's, again, something this team's going to have to learn. And
it's frustrating with Romero as well, because Romero, he puts in good displays, like good defensive displays for the most part, but in the last couple of games, he's had these brain farts or these bad moments in games, which is kind of like overshadowing his overall performance. Because again, I thought for the most part, he had a good game yesterday, but then right at the end, he lets himself down and lets the team down.
Yeah. With a bad flick on. I mean, I have to watch it again. I don't know if if the ball was too high or he just gets the header completely wrong, but obviously the ball does come off him, and because of that, it's not an offside, is it? And because he intervenes, so it's very, very frustrating. I did think he had a pretty good game, although there was also another moment he gives the ball away straight to Idrissa Gueye on the edge of our own area as well, which puts us under pressure. But again, there are so many moments where Everton are coming forward and he gets a brilliant challenge in and gets us back on the front foot with a great tackle. So there were a lot of that, but there are these things he needs to get out of his game where he's making stupid, bad moments, basically. I agree. And unfortunately, it seems like every time it has one, it's costing us a goal. So that's the thing.
Look, barring the set pieces where we came under pressure a lot, I did think it was a good defensive display overall. I think Porro and Udogie both defended really well on the day, especially Udogie. I thought Udogie was really good throughout the game. Obviously, that assist right at the start of the game was brilliant, and it's just unfortunate that I felt that the midfield, I know you disagree a little bit, but I just felt the midfield let us down on the day, particularly in the first half massively. But it's another game where we drop points late on in the game, worrying away form. But I guess we just got to dust ourselves off, pick ourselves up for Brighton at home, which is not going to be an easy game by any stretch of the imagination. We saw how they absolutely battered us at times at the Amex a month ago. And they got back to winning ways, didn't they? Quite impressively this weekend. And we know with De Zerbi, you're going to be in with a dogfight with the way they like to play their football.
expect more pressing. And it's interesting, Van der Ven after the game was saying, teams feel like now they can when they play against us, they press high and they get opportunities and encouragement from winning the ball in our attacking third. And it's something we have to work on, and we know that's going to come more from Brighton. We saw at the Amex how they really, really aggressively pressed us, and they got a lot of joy out of it. So it seemed as though maybe early in the season we were doing a lot better beating the opposition press, and I thought we did in the second half beat their press a lot better once they started to tire. But it seems like in the first halves, when teams press us, when they're full of energy and they're very intense because it's the start of the game and they got all that energy to use up, we're struggling at the moment to really contain that. It feels like once it gets to the second half and that energy drops a bit because they're starting to tire and we can use our build-up play to get through them. All of a sudden, we seem to implement our game and we seem to get control of it. But it's something we really need to concentrate on in the first halves, because at the moment we're struggling to contain oppositions who really try to press us.
I would say one thing as well. Obviously, Pape Sarr came back yesterday, and the fans were absolutely... First of all, the Spurs fans yesterday, again, were just absolutely insane from start till the 94th minute, just before we conceded. Absolutely brilliant. And what a reception they gave Pape Sarr on his return. I thought Pape, without doing anything too incredible, did add a lot to the midfield when he came on yesterday. I would say that was probably the only positive change that Ange made yesterday.
Yeah, he looked sharp. He looked quite good, I thought, when he came on. He gave us something. Unfortunately, he ended up the game with him and Skip in a midfield two with we had a back three, and again, I didn't like us in that formation as much as I understood it, because he brought Dragoshin on, maybe get some more aerial ability in there. We just didn't look good, and we didn't know how to build up with it. We didn't know how to attack with that formation, and it led to us just sitting very low and trying to see out the game, and it ultimately failed. But yeah, Pape himself, I thought had a pretty good cameo when he came on.
Yeah, but what do we do for the next game now with the midfield? Because Bentancur's not playing well. I'm not sure if this is a game for Højbjerg either against Brighton. I'm not sure. But Bissouma's back now after Mali lost yesterday in the AFCON. Pape's back with some minutes behind his belt. So surely Pape comes straight back into the midfield against Brighton. He's going to be invaluable against Brighton with the amount of legs he has. Does Bissouma come straight back in? I mean, I'm not sure what's going on with Bissouma, because he's only playing a few minutes here and there. He played the whole of extra time yesterday, half an hour. Do we go back to the midfield that gave us that amazing run at the start of the season? Bissouma in the 6, Pape in the 8, and Maddison in the 10. Yeah,
it depends what kind of condition Bissouma's in. Obviously, I know Bentancur's not playing that well at the moment, but I'll obviously rather stick with him than Højbjerg at the moment, given his ability on the ball. So I think it's a decision. I think obviously it's definitely going to be Sarr and Maddison, and it's a decision whether it's going to be Bentancur or Bissouma. Bentancur or Bissouma in the 6. I think that's how we play it, and I think that's the right thing to do.
If Bissouma is fit to start, do you side with him?
If Bissouma is fit, well, it's not like he's in great form as well, but if he's fit to start, do I side with him? If he's fit to start and we feel like he's 100% match fit, yeah, start him. I'll go with it.
I agree. So that is our match review for the 2-2 draw. Very disappointing result at Goodison Park.